Hello, I want to show you how you can add users to Moodle, okay? So the first thing that you do is you log in. I'm logging in as admin, so I type my username, admin, then I type my password. Whether your credentials give you management permissions or course creator permissions or system administrator permissions. This is how you go about it, okay? So in order for us to add some users to Moodle, we first of all go to site administration, okay? I click on site administration. Yes, here we are in site administration. There are many tabs in site administration. The one that we need is the users tab, okay? So we go to the users tab. Then on the users tab, there are a number of items. We could browse the list of users, or we could carry out some bulk user actions. For example, let's say you want to delete a number of users at the same time, okay? Or you want to send a message to a number of users at the same time. You can use the bulk user actions. What we want right now is to add a new user. So I am going to add a new user. Of course, there is many other options, but for now, we just want to concentrate on creating a new user. So I am going to click on add a new user. I am presented with this view, okay? Now, there is a number of things you can configure for each user. Now, we are just gonna quickly run through, okay? The first thing that you are going to need is, I'll start in order of importance. It's an email address, okay? You need to put the email address here, all right? So let's say the user is Sambo 3001 at outlook.com, okay? This is very important. Now, wherever you see a red exclamation, it means it is a must for you to fill that in. If you don't fill that in, then you will not be allowed to save the information that you've entered, okay? So what's the first name of this user? The first name is Yakid. Surname is Stella. Okay, Yakid Stella. Okay. Now, of course, the first name and the surname are not gonna be the credentials that are gonna be used for logging in. Okay. Now, the information that we need for logging in is the username and the password. Here, at the very top, is where we put the username. Okay. So I put the username, Yakid. Or you can put whatever username. It does not have to have a relationship with the actual name or surname of the individual. Okay. Now, how am I configuring this user? I'm configuring manually. I know there is, more than one option. Okay. There's no login, meaning that, it's a user who's not gonna log in. Okay. Manual accounts, meaning I'm gonna configure everything. There's email-based self-registration if you wanna automate your registration. But where you just want to control who logs in and you want to be taking care of, password resets, suspending users, then just go for manual accounts, okay? There is other stuff such as lightweight directory access protocol saver. There are many, LDAP servers out there. There's Microsoft Active Directory, that's one of them. Okay, there's Linux LDAP, which works with Samba. Okay, that's another one of them. So if your infrastructure is that sophisticated, then you can go to such extremes. Otherwise, all you need is simply putting a username, leave the authentication method on manual, then generate a password to notify user. What this means is that an email is going to automatically go to the user and a password is going to be generated. Okay, now if I click here, generate a password to notify user, then the password will be sent to the user. Okay, automatically generated password. Okay, and I could just put the password myself. If I don't want an auto-generated password, I could just hard code the password here. If I click here, I could hard code the password. But when you're creating the user for the for the first time, you see that this is disabled. I can't hard code the password. So if you wanna just put your own password, then what you do is remove that. Okay, remove the generate password to notify user, and just type a password there. If I say I want this password to be J money, okay, I want this password to be J money at 333. Okay, so that becomes the password which I have specifically chosen for the user that I'm creating. Okay, if I want to review the password, I simply have to click on the I. Okay, once I click and let go of the click on the I, I'm shown the password that I entered. Now, as you can see, this password has got a capital letter, small letters, special character, and some numbers. That is the best password practice, which is recommended on this learning platform. You always have to have a capital letter and a small letter, and you need to have special characters and numbers for you to have a good password. All right. Now, I could, even if I've typed in the password, I could still force a password change, meaning that I could send this password to the user, but when they just log in, as long as I've clicked on force password change, they will be asked to change that password. All right. So if you're going to send passwords like you want to email direct to the user, then all that you need to do is to simply put in your own password and force password change. All right, that's good enough. Okay. Now the email display is also very important. Okay, there are 3 options on the email display. You can hide my email address from non-privileged users. If you just want to hide that person's email address, you don't want anyone to know their email address, then you can hide it. If you want to allow everyone to see that email address, then click option 2, allow everyone to see my email address. Okay, then the last option is allow only other course members to see my email address. Okay, if that's what you want. But I recommend hide my email address from non-privileged users, unless you really want the users to see each other. Okay, well, you can put town if you wish. You can include town, and you can also include country, like I am in Zambia. Okay, the best place to be in the world, actually. Zambia. Okay, Americans. All right, so now time zone. You can choose the time zone, although it's not really important, but if you so wish, you can choose the time zone and just put it as Africa, Osaka, or Lusaka. All right, so basically that's all I need. I've created this user. Okay, Additional names, if they have many names, yes, you can add additional names. Okay. Interests, if you know or you are bothered about the interests of the users, then well, you can include them. Okay. Optional, do they have a web page, a Skype ID, a Yahoo ID, and all these other credentials, phone numbers, address, you can add them if you so wish. Okay. You have quite a lot of headroom as with what you can add. Okay. Now, if for example you want to have pictures of users, you want to show pictures of users, just drag that picture and drop it here. All right. And just drag it and drop it here, and that's it. It will be there. Okay. Basically, we have created this user. All we have to do now is just click on create user, and the user will be created. Okay. So this user, Yakid Stella, is created, and the password, we specified the password to be Germany at 333. Okay. Now, if for example, you are just logging in and you've gone to your site administration and you just want to look at the users, you just go to users, then browse a list of users. Okay. Then in browse list of users, you can see all the users that are logged in. All right. And then you could go to the edit. Okay. This gear, you edit, then you can make changes to this user. Okay. You can make the necessary changes that you want. If, for example, you want to suspend the account, all you have to do is just click there and the account is suspended. All right. If you want to change the password, you can just change the password and remove the first password change if you so wish. Or if you want them to change the password upon first logon, you can just click on force password change and that will be done. Okay. If, for example, you just wanted to have a look, but you don't really want to save anything, you can just go back. Okay. It will, of course, ask you if you want to leave the page because it expected you to save what you have changed. All right. So if I don't want to save anything, I can just leave the page. Okay. Then in this mode of user browsing, I could add a new user if I so wish. Okay. Now, in an environment such as a college or university environment, I would not recommend users to be, added the way I've added. I mean, the procedure is right, but the naming, is not very good. Okay. Now, let me show you how, as a college, as a university, you would create your users. Okay. Okay, let's say you've just logged in. Okay, you logged in and you are at your dashboard, right? Right. Now, you want to create a user using the correct method, the correct naming convention. You go to site administration, okay, and you go to users, all right? Just like before, you go to add a new user, okay? While you are in add a new user, okay, you put an email address, okay? Do I have any email address that I can use? Wow, I think I've exhausted all my email addresses. Okay, let me just use the same email address that I used. I'm going to put Tambo 3001 at outlook.com. Okay, Tambo 3001 at outlook.com. All right. Now, here is something important. When you are adding users as a college, it is better before you put the first name, okay, add some identity, all right? Add some identity to that user so that each time you are searching for similar type of users, that identity that you've added before the name of the user will guide you to find those, similar users, all right? For example, let's say I want to add this user who is in the January intake, January 2020 intake of Clinical Officer General course. So how would I add this user? I would say COG, standing for Clinical Officer General. I'll put an underscore, all right? Then I'll put Jan, okay, 2020, okay? Then another underscore. Then I'll put Fred, all right? So, Clinical Officer General, underscore, Jan 2020, underscore, Fred, okay? Surname, all right? Fred, what surname do we give him? We'll give him Fred Tree Height, okay? That's his second name, Fred Tree Height, all right? Now, when I look at Fred Tree Height, from the name, I'll know that, oh, he's in the course for Clinical Officer General and his January 2020 intake. So it becomes very easy to identify this user. Okay, so now, let's say this user is by the name of Fred, right? And the surname is Tree High. So we have added the username, the email, the surname, and the first name. Now we need to add the username, okay? This user might want to be called as Fred, okay? So we could just type Fred, okay? And this time we may want to generate the password and notify user, meaning that this user is going to get an email with an auto-generated password, which they would use for their initial logging in, okay? Then we could force a password change. Well, in this case, we won't, okay? Basically, we've generated the password, and the user will be notified that that password, which is already generated, a unique password, is what they'll be using each time they try to log in, okay? So, of course, it's important to put the country as well. So I put the country, time zone, town. You can choose to ignore that if you wish, but you need to decide if you want to hide the email from the other users or not. In my case right now, I want to hide this email from the other users, so I'm going to choose hide my email address from non-privileged users, all right? Yeah, I don't really want to put a photo. If I wanted a photo, I'll just drag and drop it over here, okay? If there's any description you want to describe the user, you can make the description right here, okay? Any additional names, you can add them there. Any interests, you can add them there. Anything optional, such as their, phone numbers and everything, you can add them in the optional part. Maybe you want to add the phone number, 0977415574. All right, that's an optional phone number which we've added. So basically, that's it. We've put everything that we need to create the user, and we could just straight away create the user, okay? So this user has now been created. However, I am being told that the email address is already registered, okay? Every user is expected to have their own email address. So this email has been rejected, okay? I need to find another email address for this user. I think I'll put stambo2001@yahoo.co.uk. Okay? Okay. So I'll create the user, and also be informed that usernames must be small letters. If I put a capital letter, for example, like that, okay? See what happens. I create the user. The system will still kick me back, okay? Because it doesn't like capital. Only lowercase letters are allowed for usernames, all right? So it's going to be a small f, okay? Then we're good, okay? So now I could create the user. Okay, so the user has now been created, okay? Now, if, for example, it so happens that, I log in one day into the dashboard and I just want to look at some of the users. Maybe I want to delete, a particular intake of users because they've graduated. I just go to site administration, okay? Then I go to users, all right? Then I could just browse the list of users, okay? I could browse the list of users and I'll be able to identify all the clinical officer general January 2020 intake users, okay? Or I could do it in a different way where I go to site administration, okay? I go to users, then I go to bulk user actions, okay? You see, in bulk user actions, I could actually just, select, like if, for example, I've got users who are starting with COG underscore Jan 2020, okay? I could just select all of them, okay? And I could carry out an action on them, all right? If I add to selection, you see, what is selected gets moved to the right, okay? What is not selected remains on the left. So this COG or the users whose usernames are starting, or the users who have their first names starting with COG, okay, could be moved this side. Then I could implement some bulk action on them, okay? I could probably just go on choose. I could choose to just delete all of them, okay? I could choose to force a password change. If, for example, I feel they need new passwords, or maybe the passwords have been compromised or whatsoever, all right? I could do a number of things. I could send a message to all of them, okay, whom I've selected, okay? All that you could do in the bulk user actions, all right? Okay, so basically that's how you add users to this platform.